Welcome back to the channel Coins Collector, another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures, where everyday pocket change could be worth a fortune. If you're someone who's ever sifted through a jar of old coins or checked the date on a penny out of sheer curiosity, you'll want to pay close attention to this incredible story. Today, we're uncovering the mystery and unbelievable value of the 1983 Liberty 1-cent coin, a coin that was supposed to be worth just 1 cent but has shocked collectors, historians, and numismatists around the world with a value reaching up to $460,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin stamped with just a single cent in face value, now commanding the price of a luxury home. How is this even possible? What makes this small copper-colored coin, that so many people would overlook without a second thought, so astronomically valuable? The answers lie in a perfect storm of minting errors, transitional mistakes, and unexpected anomalies, each contributing to the historical and collector significance of this elusive treasure. First, we need to set the stage with a bit of context. The year is 1983. The United States Mint is now fully producing pennies made from a copper-plated zinc composition, having moved away from the 95% copper coins of earlier years. This change officially took place in mid-1982 due to rising copper prices. Prior to this shift, the cost of producing a penny had actually become more than its own face value because copper was becoming too expensive. To reduce minting costs, the U.S. Mint adopted the copper-plated zinc composition, a core of zinc with a thin outer layer of copper, which dramatically reduced production expenses. However, this period of transition from copper to zinc wasn't entirely smooth. It created opportunities for mistakes, and these mistakes have led to some of the rarest and most valuable coins ever to enter circulation. That brings us directly to the 1983 penny, which became a sort of symbol of minting anomalies and the chaotic transition period in U.S. coinage history. What makes the 1983 penny so unique and valuable comes down to a combination of factors, beginning with what's known as a transitional error. A transitional error occurs when a coin is struck using a planchet, the blank metal disc that gets stamped into a coin, that was intended for a different year or metal composition. In this case, while the official composition for pennies in 1983 was copper-plated zinc, some rare 1983 pennies were mistakenly struck on the old copper planchets used prior to 1982. This means that a handful of 1983 pennies actually contain nearly 3 grams of copper, instead of the lighter 2.5 grams typical for the new zinc versions. This discrepancy might seem small, but in the world of coin collecting, it's absolutely monumental. A copper 1983 penny can often be identified by its weight. If it tips the scale at about 3.11 grams, you've likely found one of these rare transition error coins, but the weight isn't the only factor. These rare pennies may also display subtle yet significant differences in strike quality, luster, and sound when dropped on a hard surface. Zinc coins tend to have a dull, flat tone when dropped, whereas copper coins have a higher pitched ring. For a collector or an appraiser, these signs can be a gateway into confirming the coin's identity and potential value. Beyond the metal composition error, another major contributing factor to the 1983 penny's incredible value is the existence of what's known as a double die error. A double die error occurs during the minting process when the die, used to stamp the image onto the coin, shifts or rotates slightly during the hubbing process, which creates a coin with noticeable doubling in the design elements. This can appear as a shadow-like doubling of letters, numbers, or even the portrait on the coin. In the case of the 1983 double die reverse penny, this doubling is especially noticeable in the words 1 cent and e pluribus unum on the reverse of the coin. These letters may appear as if they were printed twice, slightly misaligned. For trained collectors, this is an immediate sign that the coin is something extraordinary. Even for a casual observer, the doubling is sometimes clear enough to be seen with the naked eye, though a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe helps in identifying the details with certainty. This rare double die reverse error makes the 1983 penny even more valuable, especially when paired with the aforementioned copper planchet error. A single coin that combines both these anomalies, being struck on a copper planchet and bearing the double die reverse, could fetch prices well beyond $460,000, depending on its condition and grading. Now, speaking of grading, that's another layer to this story. Coin grading is a professional process by which a coin's condition is assessed using a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect, uncirculated specimen. Coins that are certified by reputable grading companies such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, are more trusted in the market and command higher prices. A 1983 penny with these rare errors that also receives a high grade, say MS 65 or higher, can be considered the holy grail of coin collecting. Only a tiny handful of these exist, making them not just valuable, but historically significant. So let's review. If you find a 1983 penny that weighs approximately 3.11 grams and displays doubling on the reverse side, you might be holding one of the most valuable error coins ever produced by the United States Mint. But wait, there's more. The intrigue doesn't end with the doubling and the planchet. There are also known mint mark oddities and varieties associated with this year's coinage. For example, although most 1983 pennies do not carry a mint mark from the Philadelphia Mint, some collectors have discovered coins with anomalies in the area where a mint mark would normally be found, or with ghost-like impressions that suggest a misapplication or faulty die. These mint mark anomalies are rare, and while they may not always reach the same value heights as the double die or copper versions, they still attract strong interest from niche collectors who specialize in mint mark varieties. Additionally, 1983 pennies are known to suffer from zinc rot or corrosion due to the poor quality of the early copper-plated zinc planchets. Over time, coins with this composition can deteriorate if exposed to moisture or environmental factors. Ironically, this widespread problem means that any 1983 penny that has survived in excellent condition, let alone one with errors, is even more precious. In a sea of decaying examples, a mint condition coin becomes all the more valuable. There's even more complexity when we look at coins struck at different mints. The 1983 D penny, struck in Denver, for instance, also has its own set of known errors and variations. Some coins have been discovered with off-center strikes, die cracks, or cuds, areas where parts of the die have broken off, leaving raised lumps of metal on the coin's surface. These types of errors, while not always as valuable as the copper planchet or double die, are still collectible and can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on severity and rarity. Let's not forget the allure of what's called the discovery piece. In numismatic terms, a discovery piece is the first known example of a particular error or variety to be found and verified. Discovery pieces often come with a huge premium because they represent a new chapter in coin history. The first 1983 copper penny discovered was such a piece, and it shook the numismatic world when it surfaced. Since then, a handful of others have been found, but their numbers remain extremely limited, adding to their mystery and allure. Collectors have gone to great lengths to search for these coins, using sensitive digital scales, microscopes, and high-powered magnifiers. Online forums buzz with hopeful treasure hunters sharing images and stories, hoping that the penny they pulled from an old coffee can might be the next six-figure discovery. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have sold these coins for astronomical prices, sometimes in live bidding events where excitement builds as the numbers climb well beyond expectations. And here's perhaps the most exciting part of all: these coins have been found in circulation. That means someone used them as regular currency, completely unaware of their hidden value. One could have come from your local grocery store, a handful of change from a vending machine, or even as change from a parking meter. This is why coin collecting and error hunting have become so popular, because the next great discovery could literally be sitting in your wallet or loose change drawer. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing modern coin mysteries out there, the 2007 Liberty 1-cent USA coin. On the surface, it looks like any ordinary penny that you'd find in your pocket change. But some rare versions of this coin are worth as much as $5,000, and possibly even more depending on specific conditions, minting mistakes, and varieties. We're not just talking about one small detail or an oddity that you need a microscope to see. We're talking about real mint errors, notable variations, and peculiarities that have turned what was supposed to be a simple 1-cent piece into a collector's dream. So, how exactly does a 1-cent coin from 2007 become so valuable? What makes this ordinary-looking coin so extraordinary in the eyes of numismatists and collectors? The answer lies in a fascinating blend of minting errors, variations in mint marks, die clashes, off-center strikes, and double dies. To understand why these factors elevate the value of the coin, we have to explore how coins are minted and what can go wrong in that process, sometimes in ways that end up creating rare and valuable collectibles. Let's start with the basics. In 2007, the United States Mint produced billions of pennies. These coins were part of the Lincoln cent series, which had been running since 1909. The obverse of the coin features the famous bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that remained unchanged for decades. On the reverse, you'd find the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design was still in place in 2007, making that year one of the last in the long-running Memorial Reverse series, as the design would soon change to celebrate the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth in 2009. Most 2007 Lincoln cents are completely ordinary. They're made of copper-plated zinc, weigh about 2.5 grams, and are about 19 millimeters in diameter. But amid the billions produced, there are a few coins with mistakes, rare errors made during the minting process, that make these coins incredibly desirable for collectors. Some of these errors are so rare that only a handful are known to exist. These mistakes are not merely curiosities, they are windows into the inner workings of the U.S. Mint, capturing moments where machinery went awry, human oversight occurred, or peculiar anomalies sneaked past quality control. One of the most discussed errors that make the 2007 penny potentially worth thousands is the double die. A double die error happens when the die used to strike the coin is improperly manufactured, leading to a doubling of certain design elements on the coin. When these coins are struck, the doubling appears clearly to the naked eye on key areas of the design, like the date, the word liberty, or in God we trust. This kind of doubling is very different from machine doubling, which can also cause a blurry, doubled appearance but is far less valuable. Collectors hunt for true double dies because they are the result of a flawed die and not merely a quirk of the striking process. A 2007 penny with clear doubling can command values in the thousands depending on how dramatic and clear the doubling is, but the double die isn't the only kind of error that can make this coin valuable. Off-center strikes are another big one. An off-center error occurs when the blank planchet isn't correctly aligned with the dies when the coin is struck. The result is a coin that looks like it's missing part of its design or is off to one side. The more off-center the strike, especially if the date is still visible, the more valuable the coin can be. A 2007 penny that struck 50% off-center with a full date visible can easily fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. Collectors love these coins because they show a dramatic, obvious mistake and are unique in appearance. Then there are coins that have been struck on the wrong planchet altogether. A planchet is the blank piece of metal that becomes a coin when struck by the dies. Sometimes, due to a mix-up at the mint, a penny might get struck on a dime planchet or even a foreign coin planchet. This results in a coin that's the wrong size, weight, or color. These errors are exceedingly rare and are almost always worth significantly more than face value. For example, a 2007 Lincoln cent struck on a dime planchet would be noticeably lighter and smaller and could easily sell for thousands to a knowledgeable buyer or at a numismatic auction. One of the most elusive and valuable types of error found on the 2007 penny involves the mint mark. The mint mark is a small letter indicating which U.S. Mint facility produced the coin. For 2007 pennies, you'd most commonly find D for Denver or P for Philadelphia, though in that year, Philadelphia minted pennies didn't carry a mint mark at all. Occasionally, collectors find anomalies with these mint marks. Sometimes the mint mark is repunched, known as an RPM or repunched mint mark error, where the letter was stamped more than once but not perfectly aligned. This was more common in earlier decades, but examples have surfaced even in 2007 issues. A clear repunched mint mark can make a coin far more desirable, especially if it's bold and visible without magnification. There's also speculation about transitional errors with coins from 2007. These errors happen when a coin is struck using a design or metal composition from a previous or upcoming year. Because 2009 marked the change from the Lincoln Memorial reverse to the new designs commemorating Lincoln's life, and changes were in the works as early as 2007, some believe a small number of test strikes or experimental pieces may have been accidentally released into circulation. While these transitional errors haven't been widely confirmed for 2007 pennies, the possibility keeps collectors searching and prices high for any coin that even hints at being a transitional strike. Die cracks and cuds are other errors found in the 2007 penny that can add value. A die crack occurs when a die used to strike the coin becomes damaged and starts to crack. The result is a raised line on the coin where the metal filled in the crack. If the damage is more severe, a piece of the die might break off completely, leaving a large, blob-like area on the coin known as a cud. Cuds and major die cracks can be visually striking and are always a point of interest among collectors. The size, location, and uniqueness of the cud or crack can influence how much extra value the coin might have. Some 2007 pennies also suffer from die clashes, which happen when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between. This can cause a ghost-like image of the opposite side's design to appear faintly on the coin. Die clash errors can vary in severity, but strong, clearly visible clashes are rare and sought after. When a coin shows both die clash and double die characteristics, it becomes a high-priority item for collectors and error enthusiasts. A factor that enhances the value of any of these errors is the coin's condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers indicating a better preserved coin. A 2007 penny with a major error in uncirculated condition, especially if it grades above MS 65, can be worth significantly more than one with the same error that's worn and circulated. This is why collectors will often pay a premium for coins that are not only rare due to their errors but also in pristine condition. It's also worth mentioning that certain varieties of 2007 pennies were produced in collector sets and may have been struck with higher quality dies or under special conditions. These coins, known as proof coins, are usually not found in circulation but can sometimes be separated from their sets and mistaken for regular coins. A proof error coin from 2007, such as a proof penny with doubling or a misstrike, would be extremely rare and valuable. So, now that you know what to look for, how do you go about finding one of these elusive 2007 pennies worth thousands? The best place to start is your pocket change. While rare, these coins have been known to turn up in circulation. You can also purchase rolls of pennies from banks or coin dealers and search through them. Make sure you have a good magnifying glass or even a coin microscope so you can spot small details like doubling or mint mark anomalies. Join coin collecting forums or online communities where people share tips and photos of coins they've found. Education and community go a long way when it comes to identifying errors and understanding the value of what you have. Coin dealers, estate sales, flea markets, and even garage sales are also great places to stumble upon valuable coins that might be overlooked by the average seller. Sometimes people sell old coin jars or collections without realizing what they're giving away. If you know what to look for, you might just find a gem hiding among the ordinary.